recording.
All right, and we'll start.
Recording in progress.
So, hello, everyone. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Council Budget and Finance Committee. And let's see, yes, and let the record reflect that all three council members, Councilmember Lamnin, Councilmember Wahab, and myself are present, as are the city manager and some people from the finance. Is our finance director on vacation? Is that okay? So yes. Nicole, are you going to be okay?
You heard from me today.
All right. So with that, we will move to public comments, and let me ask if there are any attendees who would like to make a public comment. I do see some attendees, but well, you're here for the item, not okay. So we'll close public comments and move on to the first item, which is the minutes of the June 15th meeting. Are there any comments, corrections, questions from committee members? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move the item.
All right.
Second.
And Councilmember Lamnin will second. So, all in favor say aye. Aye. And
Aye.
Aye.
Say it. Okay. And the motion carries with 3 aye votes on the motion by council committee member. Well, all right. Councilmember Wahab, committee member. Well, all right. Councilmember Wahab, seconded by Lamnin. Okay. Moving on. The minutes are approved. So now moving on to our first real substantive item, which is regard an update on the public Bank of East Bay, which we have discussed before, and we have a matter before us that we're being asked to approve. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Nicole, I guess, or Kelly.
I think I'm going to do the presentation, and just because I think Dustin had prepared the staff report, and then Nicole's going to do the next update on CalPERS. So this one's more of a policy issue, so I'll do this one. So just wanted to go ahead and share. So as from the follow-up presentation that was at I think it was at the last Budget and Finance Committee meeting, I think that was in July, it was in April, I apologize. So September, California State Legislature passed AB 857, which was the Public Banking Act that allowed for public banking to be considered in the state. Obviously, we've heard some of this before in the presentation. First orientation that the committee had was in November of 2021. And then in April of 2022, there was a presentation on the East Bay viability study and request for support in moving forward with a draft resolution for the Public Bank of the East Bay, as well as a letter of support for the Alameda County Board of Supervisors. Nicole, there's the live captions and subtitles. Could you make that go away? There's a little red box. I'm sorry. It says, I don't know if you can see that. So I'll make sure I can read the whole slide.
Where is
it's so maybe it's on, maybe I can no I can't. On the slide display there's like it says live captions and subtitles. I don't know if you see the little toolbar.
Oh, I do. Got it. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Just having trouble seeing the whole slide. And then the next slide. So staff is bringing this back. We have proposed some edits to the resolution to make it a little more consistent with policy resolutions that we bring before the council, and would recommend that the committee consider the revised draft resolution and recommend that to the city council. Basically that the city supports the concept of the public bank and supports the city's further consideration and evaluation of becoming a member of the public bank as the process moves forward. So I think pretty straightforward, but we did want to present some proposed edits from staff on the draft resolution. So think that was.
All right, unless there are any like burning questions from our committee members, I'm going to ask if our guests would like to make any comments about this.
I could just jump in and say we appreciate the attention that was paid to the letter and feel satisfied with the edits that were made by staff. Thank you for putting this before the committee today.
Okay. And if need, then committee members, do you have anything you want to say, or Councilmember Lamnon?
I'll kick off with an appreciation for both the community members who are working on the public banking and for our city staff who were looking at the letter. And I'm happy to move support of the resolution and sending the letter.
I'll second the item.
Okay.
And I do appreciate it. I know it's taken some time. Susan, if you remember, probably almost 4 years ago, we sat down and had this conversation when you guys were still starting the board and so forth. So I appreciate your persistence, definitely, and George and Didicus for, you know, continuing to add points and making us do what I think is a right thing, and let's test it out and so forth. And there's a plenty of other I'm going to say places that have done community banks, and they have been extremely successful, especially for communities like ours. So I'm looking forward to it. And if there's anything else you guys need, I hope that you guys can reach out and just ask us to take a look at it, whether it's nudging people or even making personal calls. I'm happy to do so. So thank you.
And our relationship with Sarah goes even further back than with you, Aisha.
I see. Well, there's been longstanding consideration, and I think we all have thought about this. I mean, I remember that we thought about it when we were thinking about putting the cannabis and matter on the on the ballot because of the problems there. And also, I mean, for years we understand, the difficulties that some of our residents face with not being able to have bank accounts that, in regular banking institutions, and having to resort on institutions that, are not really acting in their customers' interests, shall we say. I actually, though, do have an amendment suggestion or a request, and it's really more semantical than anything. But in the last 2 paragraphs, it says, "Now, therefore, be it resolved that the city of Hayward supports further explorations of the creation of the public bank, and further." And then next paragraph, "be it further resolved that the city of Hayward," and I just don't think we need 2 furthers right so close to each other. So couldn't we just take the first further out?
Yes.
And "be it further resolved"? Would you?
Yes, that was the one edit I think I missed in terms of our.
Yeah, no, very good job of
apologize.
editing. I thought you really did, but I just got to that, and it's just a little repetitive, and
This is what I'm going to miss about the mayor. Her journalistic, her former journalist background, and editing our documents. So thank you, Mayor. We'll make that change.
Yeah, I think the AP style book would have said that, that might be a little bit. So if neither of the maker or the seconder of the motion has any objections, we will remove that first further. But otherwise, on the motion, please, let's raise your hand physically. Well, no, I don't see Aisha on camera right now. Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, all opposed? No one is opposed, and the motion passes. Okay,
Madam Mayor.
Can I just ask a quick question?
sure.
Or maybe Didicus is asking the same. Go ahead, Didicus.
No, actually, go ahead, Susan. If you're going to ask a question, ask a question.
Are we
You can both do it.
guaranteed to have this pass the full council? Because we would not want it to be turned down there.
So we are planning to have it passed by the full.
But we can't predict what the council will vote.
Yeah,
on.
we can.
That would be, yeah.
Susan, I doubt that, it's a letter of support. It's not anything. We're not investing money. There's no real strong financial commitment just yet. So I think this is just, again, supporting the idea, the concept, and hopefully down the road, if we can commit, we can commit. And, who knows, it may be a change of more advocates on the council too. So
My sense of it is that we won't see opposition, but when do you expect this to be on the council agenda, Kelly?
My guess is we can probably get it on one of the meetings in October. It should be pretty straightforward.
So it wouldn't hurt for, the three of you to reach out to the 4 members of the council who are not on this committee, just to let them know it's coming and see if they have any concerns.
Will
Okay.
do. Will do.
Because we can't do that ourselves, but you can. So,
Madam Mayor, if I could, just real quickly.
yes.
This is probably the last time I'll see the 3 of you together. And I know that at the end of this year, all 3 of you are leaving the council. So I wanted to thank you for your service and wish you all the best in the next episode. All right.
Thank you so much. We will be around for a few more, to 3 more months to be exact, almost 3. And actually, I was going to bring that up at the last, in the last item about the future agendas, since there seems to be a meeting scheduled at a time where the 3 of us will be gone. So, and I don't, anyway, we'll get to that when we get to it. But thank you all for keeping, for your advocacy. I think it is all something that if we can do this in a way that is not going to harm city finances, which, as you know, are tenuous, and we get that thrown in our face every once in a while, like come election time, when certain editorialists who like to focus on that, write editorials. But I actually, we have done a lot to stabilize our long-term financial picture, and I think that if we can find a way to support this, like I said, without jeopardizing our finances, it would be a good thing to do for the community. So thank you all.
Thank you.
So with that, we will move on to anybody else. Okay, we will move on to the another item, which isn't so much fun or pleasant. It's the CalPERS update.
Yes.
Well, say-
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. Okay. All right, can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. I realized that the view before was the presenter's view, so I apologize. I did fix that during the conversation. This presentation tonight will be fairly brief. Typically, we provide an update around this time each year that provides an update on the most recent release of the actuarial evaluation reports for each plan. Unfortunately, those plans have not been released by Caltrans as of yet. We do anticipate that those will be released by CalPERS in the next several weeks. So we do anticipate that at a near meeting, either in November or December, we will bring back to the committee a review of those actuarial updates through June 30th of 2021. So this report tonight really is a report out on the preliminary report on CalPERS investment returns for fiscal year 21-22, and then also kind of a quick look back about where we've been over the last 12 months. So here's just kind of a brief overview, again, taking a quick look back of where we've been over the last 12 months. As you'll recall, in October of 2021, the committee received an overview from the actuarial evaluation report through June 30th, 2020 for all 3 of the city's CalPERS plans. During that meeting, we also included some financial scenarios based on the potential change in the 7% discount rate. Again, as you will recall, the return on investments for fiscal year 2021 were unprecedented at a return of 21.3%. And so that really significant return on investment triggered us policy within CalPERS, known as the funding mitigation policy, I apologize, which does allow CalPERS to lower the discount rate if it is within above 2% of its target rate of return. So in September, the board, CalPERS board, had some preliminary conversations about where that discount rate may potentially lie, and I believe it was conversations for lowering it to 6.3% all the way to potentially 6.8%. So in November of 2021, the board did approve the lowering of the discount rate to 6.8%. So that was kind of what happened about this time last year. In July of this year, just a few months ago, CalPERS did release its preliminary investment returns for fiscal year 21-22, and it was a significant swing in the opposite direction, reporting a net loss of 6.1%. So here we are in September of 2022. Again, we don't have the actuarial valuations through the June 30th of 2021 yet, but we do anticipate those in the next several weeks. So what are the next steps? What does that mean for the city and the impact to the city? It's certainly expected that the change in discount rate combined with the net negative return on investments, it's going to result in higher employer contributions in the future. Given that we don't have the most recent actuarials, we don't really fully have the actual impact that the city will see on its contribution requirements quite yet. However, you might recall that we worked with a company called GovInvest, and they developed a tool for us that we use to help forecast liabilities related to retirement plans. And so once we get our new actuarial reports, the most recent ones, staff is expected to return to the committee to kind of demonstrate and illustrate using that tool what the long-term impacts will be to the city and its required contributions based on the combination of the discount rate changing to 6.8%, and of course the significant loss in its return in investments this year. And it is of note that this is the first net loss reported since 2009, where there was a reported net loss on its return on investments that year. So again, we anticipate in the next couple months coming back to you with kind of more of a substantive report on kind of where we are funding wise with our plans. Once we do have the most recent actuarial reports released by CalPERS, and that report will include the 6.8% discount rate in it. So happy to answer any questions. I know that was kind of a quick synopsis, not what you're typically used to seeing, given that we usually have our actuarials by this point. We do realize this is kind of just a minimal update for you, but it does contain the information that we do have at this point in time.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments? You're not really asking for us to do anything on this, right?
No, it's just really an informational report at this point, but again, happy to have a conversation.
Sarah.
So I'm happy to have you start, Aisha, but I thought you were shaking your head just to be checking. Okay. So appreciate the report, and it's unfortunately a little bit of the not me, I told you so, but the bigger like Dustin finance directors, city managers told you so moment, as CalPERS kept talking about its 21-point return last year. It's like, right. Yeah, 1 year, people, can we not? Anyway, so just venting for a second, but, acknowledging that, that this is important. And my hope is that, it does spawn the kind of a renewed focus from the League of California Cities. I mean, the city managers had a really good working group for a while, maybe in collaboration with some of the finance the finance director's department and the city manager's department. Obviously, I defer to better minds than mine, but really bringing CalPERS back to the table. And then my hope would be to then work with labor. We've talked on and off, when we get to a contract, that there really needs to be a not contract related conversation about how do we get our arms around the unfunded liabilities in a way that doesn't take away from people's ability to care for themselves and their families, but does allow the city to be able to pay for those benefits long term. And, are we looking at every contract for a while is always a zero in the first year? Is it that we do some things around childcare or non-personable benefits, but that help a family perhaps save money in other ways. I'm not going to assume I know what's right for our employees, but I would really hope that we could have those conversations sooner rather than later in maybe it's a subcommittee group or some kind of working group. And then lastly, I know we have the written policies about our one-time payments, and whether or not it's the right time to start looking at putting that in our trust fund, or whether it makes sense to continue to pay down like CalPERS liabilities directly. But I know you'll be looking at all of these things and, not sure when this is coming back, but just some things that I'll be kind of looking for, or I hope get discussed whenever this
Sure.
comes.
And for what it's worth, that GovInvest tool that we have does allow us to kind of run scenarios on additional contributions by different labor groups and what that does for the long-term liability for the city. And so it does allow us to kind of build out scenarios on what that looks like and how it impacts long-term liability. So that's definitely a tool that we would continue to leverage as we move forward and know more about our CalPERS situation.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. Is the other piece, the other scenario that I think it may be time to finally really talk about is, what if we weren't funding to 100%? If we were really funding to what is more realistic, 95, 90%, everybody should be able to get their benefits, but we know that 100% is not actually what gets needed. And so having those conversations in a time when it's not tied to something specific, but as you said, with the tool we have, we can look at it. And if that's what people are not comfortable with, fine, but to be able to have those conversations. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, Aisha.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the presentation. As always, it's, daunting. What is it, $500 million, something like that, something extreme. I think that, I do just want to highlight that a lot of our employees at the same time come and work for governments that are not paying competitive prices. This is one of the reasons why we have retention issues for certain fields and so forth, right? And it's important to understand that the whole pension is an incentive to attract good talent, if you will, right? And so I fully agree with that and believe that. And I do want to say that I still think that the revenue generated from our cannabis industry would help us even put in more money into our unfunded liabilities, even if we were to take, as I stated, 1/3 of the money generated. It would equate to a significant amount of funds over the course of 5 years, 10 years, so forth, right? It would not be taking any money from employees. It would not be asking them to contribute any further. And this is money that we're still not 100% getting yet, because 2 businesses are still not up and running. It would make a significant impact without asking for residents to pay more taxes or things like that either. So I do just want to highlight that as a potential option. That is something that labor fully supported, both our police department, both our fire department, as well as the county labor group as a whole. And I think that is something that is a little bit more innovative and interesting to help us with our pension issues, right? So just want to flag that for yourself and Director Clausen to possibly look into a little bit more. Again, if it's the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 policy, 1/3 reserves and unfunded liabilities, 1/3 for economic development and investing in that, and 1/3 at council discretion. So I still think that that's a very viable option. So thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, I do think that we have those policies in place, and we have been doing that. So yeah, that has been our policy, and we try, and we have actually made the picture better until we hit this latest recession or whatever it is we're in. Stock market down over 500 again today. But we've seen these times before. We saw them. It's been, over 10 years, 12 years, 13 years. I remember when I was trying to get my head around, why are they lowering the discount rate when they've experienced these great returns? And I think it was explained to me that this the lowering the discount rate allows CalPERS now to stabilize its investments a little bit more and get more into safer investments. So do these latest returns reflect that the result? I mean, are they inclusive of CalPERS having done that, or have they done that yet? Or does anybody know the answer to that here at this meeting?
So my understanding is in November of 2021, when they did adopt a lower or approve a lower discount rate, they also looked at their investment portfolio, and there was some changes in allocation. I don't believe that I can't confirm, so we can confirm after this, but I don't know that this year's returns reflected those reallocations.
Yeah.
I think the reallocations will be effective in the current fiscal year.
So we may not see such losses, and, presumably the economy isn't going to be in a free fall right now. There are a lot of factors that are affecting it, obviously. In the staff report, it mentioned, I wasn't clear on, there was a reference to the funding status being currently 72%.
That is the plan for all participants for CalPERS. It was not city specific.
Okay.
Sorry, we realized after that wasn't very clear, and it would probably add some questions.
Yeah, I know. I was it's like, well, that's not bad. We
wish we were at that funding level.
I've been waiting to see those figures though. And do you think they'll have them while we're all three still here for 2 more meetings, maybe at the most?
I believe so. It looks like I said last year we brought the report to you in October, and we had the actual reports at that point. So I would suspect the next couple of weeks we'll have something, and hoping either we can get it on the October, November, or December calendar, and we can look at the calendar in just a second. That's our next item. But definitely it would be wonderful to be able to present that to the 3 of you as you continue on this committee.
Yes, although it's just going to be horrible to see a 9% drop is what you're saying it's going to show. Okay. All right. Well, with that, anyone else want to have any follow-up here before we move on to a less depressing topic?
Yes, and I do just want to highlight a correction. The 50-50 policy that was referenced is for our one-time funds, not for
cannabis
generated.
Yeah.
So the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 option is still very much viable. So I will advocate as much as possible for that.
The cannabis taxes, though, we had a percentage going to something community
foundation.
Yeah.
Community foundation. Okay.
Which is also not, I'm not sure if we've heard back about how transparent that has been, and if any of our previous issues with our counterpart has been resolved, or better, should I say.
They've had some transitions in their staff. I believe they have a new executive director. And so and I think we're going to present a report on the foundation in October to the committee. So.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, people are going to have to grapple with how we cover things. I mean, the services are very important. Obviously this is important, and it's, we juggle it every single year. We have been making progress. We have to anticipate, though, that the economy isn't always going to help us. And I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I wish 18 years ago when I was first on council that, I had been getting different recommendations from staff. And I think the staff has greatly improved in, their in how they provide and what information they provide to us. So, yeah, well, we will move on, but I hope that we are able to see those sometime in the next couple of months, the actual, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't wish for that, but no, one more time before we go out. So that brings us to our next topic, which is future agenda items. And
I do have that, so I
turn
can
that over to
put that up on the screen for you. Keep wanting to start over. Okay, there you go.
So I will just point out that on December 21st, all 3 of us will be out of office, and I'm not sure the new mayor will have filled those positions yet. Plus, I'm not sure how that falls in whatever time we're gonna be shut down.
We will still be open. I think we won't close until the 23rd is Friday of that week. So we won't shut down till the following week. But we do need, I think we do have a requirement to present the audit to the committee. Is that correct, Nicole? So we
Yes.
probably need to move that committee meeting up.
To November.
Yeah, at least
Do we want to move both of those items? The 2024 budget process calendar and review will be preliminary, but we can provide an update in November too.
Yeah, those two things could be moved up to that November meeting,
Yeah.
and probably should be.
And if the audit is not, the audit should be ready, but if it's not, then we can maybe do it, see if we can meet with the committee the first week of December.
Okay, sounds good. And I'm pleased to see the, on next month, the Community Foundation update. They have a new executive director, or they have we got an email today about that, so it'll be interesting.
Yes, we have not met with them yet, but we're hoping to do so. So with the new executive director.
Okay. Are there any other committee comments on the agenda items? Sarah.
Thank you. Sorry. It may make sense to do the budget process. Sorry, as the first meeting of January, in case there is, I mean, unless there's something you need this committee to weigh in on, because I was thinking about the fact that it's an all new committee. And even for the members that are experienced council members, they haven't been as deeply entrenched in the budget as we have. That's the point. So that both the CAFR and the budget process might be good orientation items, and maybe to kind of approach them in that way, so to help ground the new committee members. Just a thought.
A great suggestion.
Yeah.
Sorry, and one other thing, just to keep public banking on the non-scheduled list, please, as things will evolve. Thanks.
Okay. Alicia, anything?
No, I think that this is fine, and I'm happy to kind of either condense some of the items as well as move up the dates. As long as we're told ahead of time, I think it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we'll be ready to meet in early December before we all exit if we need to. Okay, are there any announcements by anyone? If not, thank you, committee members. Thank you, staff. Thank you, attendees, for sticking it out. And with that, we have had a very short meeting, but well, I don't know how productive, but informational, certainly. All right. Thank you, everyone.